The throne room of the Sci-Fi Empire shimmered with gold and emerald light, its high pillars carved with the stories of a proud race of warriors. The Empress herself, tall, regal, and radiant with the subtle glow of her kind, sat upon her crystalline throne. She was known across half the galaxy as indomitable, ruthless in battle, and unyielding in diplomacy. Yet even with all her power, one wound had never healed. The Empress had lost her daughter. The child had vanished 12 years ago during a skirmish with raiders near the edge of Imperial space. A vessel had been lost, and though wreckage had been found, no bodies were recovered. For the Sci-Fi, the loss was treated as final. But the Empress had never fully accepted it. For 12 years, whispers circulated in her palace. When she speaks of her child, her eyes soften. When she sleeps, she calls her name. And on this day, the great doors to her throne room opened to reveal something impossible. A human walked in, wearing battered armor and carrying something precious in his arms. His steps were slow, deliberate, and though he bowed with respect before the Empress, his jaw was set with determination. "My name is Captain Daniel Reeves of the United Earth Defense Corps," he said, voice echoing across the chamber. "I believe I've brought someone home." The bundle in his arms stirred, and the Empress, immortalized by countless artists as the embodiment of strength, rose to her feet with trembling hands. The young woman Daniel carried had the same glowing eyes as her mother, the same silver hair shimmering faintly under the throne room lights. She was older than the child who had gone missing, but there was no mistaking her heritage. The Empress whispered one word. "Cellari." Beginning. Daniel had not planned on becoming a rescuer of lost princesses. His original orders were much simpler. Patrol the lawless outer reaches, where pirate clans and slaver bands preyed on stray ships. But during a routine mission, he and his crew intercepted a distress signal. It came not from a ship, but from a mining colony abandoned decades ago. The voice in the transmission was weak, cracking with static, but desperate. "Help, please. I don't belong here." They followed the signal down to the surface. The colony was a ruin. Rusted scaffolding, shattered domes, oxygen scrubbers long silent. But deep underground they found the source. A slave compound maintained by one of the nastiest groups in the sector. Daniel's team stormed the place, blasters cutting through the slavers before they knew what hit them. And in the central cell, chained and half-starved, he found her. She didn't look human, not exactly. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark, and her silver hair fell in matted strands across her face. But her voice was steady when she asked him a single question. "You're not one of them, are you?" "No," Daniel said, kneeling to break her chains. "I'm here to get you out." She flinched when his hand touched hers, then blinked in shock. "Warm," she whispered. "You're warm." They were always cold. It took days before she trusted him enough to share her name, Cellari, and weeks more before Daniel pieced together her true identity. She spoke of faint memories. A palace of glass, a mother's voice singing to her, the sound of waves breaking on a shore she hadn't seen since she was a child. Daniel knew the stories. The lost daughter of the Sci-Fi Empress was legend in political circles. If this girl was who she claimed, bringing her home could alter the fragile balance between Earth and the Empire. But for Daniel, politics wasn't the point. Cellari had been robbed of her life. He was going to give it back. Middle. The journey to the Sci-Fi capital was perilous. Pirates hunted them after word spread that a valuable captive had been stolen. More than once, Daniel fought sleepless at the controls, evading ambushes in asteroid belts or trading fire across nebulae. Through it all, Cellari stayed close to him. She learned quickly how to operate the ship systems, how to read the maps of human star charts, even how to laugh again. At first, she laughed too softly, as if afraid it would anger someone. But one night, when Daniel told her a ridiculous story about a training drill gone wrong, she burst into unrestrained laughter, tears streaming down her face. "I'd forgotten what it felt like," she admitted afterward. "What?" Daniel asked. "To be alive." By the time they reached Imperial space, Daniel felt something he hadn't expected. Protectiveness that went beyond duty. Celery wasn't just a passenger. She was family. But the Empire was not easily approached. Their warships shadowed his vessel the moment he crossed the border. A dozen sleek cruisers surrounded him, demanding to know why a human dared approach uninvited. Daniel sent a single reply. "Tell the Empress I have her daughter." What followed was silence, then permission to land. The throne room was silent after Celery was placed on her feet. The Empress moved slowly, almost afraid this vision would vanish if she stepped too quickly. When she finally reached Celery, she touched her daughter's cheek with trembling fingers. "It's you," she whispered. Celery's voice shook. "Mother, I thought I'd never see you again." The reunion should have been simple, joyous. But nothing in the galaxy was ever so easy. The Empress's advisors erupted in whispers. Some doubted the girl's identity, calling for genetic verification. Others warned that this could be a human trick, an elaborate plot to infiltrate the palace. And still others saw political danger. If the Empress admitted her child had survived, enemies might exploit her years of vulnerability. One counselor sneered openly at Daniel. "And we are to believe a human, that this soldier simply stumbled upon our lost princess." Daniel bristled but kept his composure. "I didn't stumble. I fought for her. I bled for her. And I brought her home because she deserves better than a cage." Celery stepped forward, gripping her mother's hand. "It's me, Mother. I remember the lullabies. I remember the gardens. Ask me anything." And so the Empress did. She asked her daughter questions no outsider could know. The name of her childhood pet, the story of a secret hiding place, the last words whispered before that fateful voyage. Celery answered each with certainty, tears streaking her face. Finally, the Empress turned to her court. "Doubt if you wish. But I know my child." The advisors fell silent. But a greater challenge loomed. Conflict. The slavers Daniel had fought were not independent. They were backed by one of the Empire's rival houses, a faction eager to weaken the Empress. Now, with Celery's return, those enemies saw their plans unraveling. Whispers reached the throne within days. Ships massing near the border, mercenaries hired, assassins dispatched. The message was clear. Celery was a threat to their power, and they would not allow her to live. Daniel insisted on staying by Celery's side. The Empress, though reluctant to trust an outsider, saw the bond between them. "Very well," she said. "If you risked your life to bring her home, you will have the honor of guarding her now." That night, assassins struck. Daniel awoke to the sound of shattering glass and dragged Celery behind him as energy blades sliced through the air. He fought like a man possessed, every instinct honed from years of combat. But it was Celery who saved them both in the end, awakening power she had long forgotten. A surge of radiant energy burst from her, knocking the attackers unconscious.